Hey, Vic, couple things. I'll start off with the injuries from yesterday. Any updates on Lindsey, Patrick, Purcell, and Tuska?
Yeah, Mike Purcell is, going to miss the rest of the season with his foot injury. Spencer is he'll be day to day this week. Don't know if he'll make it. Same thing with Patrick, and same thing with Tuska.
What was the nature of Purcell's injury?
I think it's one of those Liz Franks injuries.
Right. And secondly, after Drew Lock's game yesterday, when you watched the tape, what were the major issues that he needs to fix moving forward?
Well, I think as a team, we just need to fix our entire passing game. We just haven't thrown it very efficiently the last 2 weeks. And that's an 11-man operation. That's us as coaches. We're all in it together. And we got to go to work on that, and it has to improve, no doubt about it. And as the quarterback, he's the main focus as always, but I think we all need to keep in mind that it is an 11-man operation, and us as coaches are involved too. And we've got to make improvements there. There's no two ways about that.
Thanks for Ryan Stevenson.
Hey, Vic, piggybacking on Ryan's question a bit, how do you think Jerry Jeudy's trajectory has gone? He had 6 catches, I think, in October. I know you probably want some more production out of him, but how do you think he's doing?
He's been up. I thought yesterday was a good example. He had some plays that he'd like to do over, both from a mental standpoint and execution standpoint, but he also had some very good plays yesterday. And I think that's probably a way you can describe his season to this point. I do think the arrow's up on him. We like him. He's going to be a really good player for us. We just need to eliminate some of those negative plays.
And then secondly, how about Albert O? He had, I think he led you in catches yesterday. Similar with him, you see him on a good trajectory now?
Yeah, I do. He's gotten to play the last 2 weeks. I thought he's played well with his opportunities. Same comment. There's always a couple plays that he'd like to do over or have another chance at catching it. But very pleased with his progress. And I think he's definitely a guy that's improving, and the arrow's been going up on him.
Thanks for Mike Close.
Coach, I got 2. First of all, you went against the grain a little bit by electing to receive after you won the toss. Could you just go through your mindset there?
Yeah, the whole idea there was, with the weather the way it was and the wind, which was about 10 to 11 miles per hour, by doing that, we would have the wind in the fourth quarter. And you could see that because you want to have the wind at the end of the half and at the end of the quarter, at the end of the game, because that's when you extend your field goal kickers, maybe to try field goals that are a little longer than normal. And I believe that's what Kansas City's thought process was too, because they chose to kick into the wind on the opening kickoff. So they would have the wind at the end of the second quarter in case they were going to try a long field goal.
And also on Drew Lock, how do you balance the fact that, he's young and he's maybe not, he's not going to be consistent. He may even lose you a game or two because of his inconsistency versus he'll never get consistent unless he does play and gets all the reps.
I agree.
I mean,
you asked the question and answered it.
My question was, how do you balance it? I mean, you're trying to win now with a young quarterback who's inconsistent, and versus, are you looking at it that that's worth, getting your quarterback of the future, your franchise quarterback, getting them playing time?
Yeah, I mean, he's got to get through these games. The only way he's going to improve is to play. There's no other way to improve. And like I said earlier, it's an 11-man operation as far as the players go. We as coaches are involved with that. We have to do our job better. And but Drew's going to have to play better and eliminate the negative plays. And we need to complete some more balls, obviously. But the only way you do all that is to play.
Next one, Jeff Leibel.
Vic, I may have missed it, but I didn't think you gave an update on Phillip. Is he in the protocol officially?
Yes. Yeah, he's in the concussion protocol.
And do you expect, you don't know if he'll practice this week at all or anything?
Yeah, that's all, that's all done independently. They started testing him today, and that will be a process that will just have to take place during the week, and we'll see what the independent doctors say.
Okay, and then on the passing game, again, these are just my little numbers, so yours probably differ, but are you concerned in 3 wide you have 13 sacks, 9 interceptions? Is that some of it a personnel issue or a grouping issue?
Possibly, but some of those times you're in those groupings because of the situation, whether it be third down, whether it be you're trailing, et cetera. So I know we've played more 3 wides than the other groups, so the numbers will be higher, but you make a good point. We've had too many negative plays in that personnel group.
Next one, Troy.
Vic, 2 quick ones. Do you feel like Drew maybe is trying to press a little bit because he missed time and, he's just trying to make up for a little bit for lost ground? And the second question is, Shelby tweeted last night that you had talked with him. Do you feel like you two are on good terms moving forward?
Oh, yeah. We had a great talk after the game, and there's no issue there. He might be pressing. I don't know. You'd have to ask him that. But and I'm sure he is to a certain degree. When things don't go good, you press. And particularly when you're a young quarterback and you don't have a lot of reps, a bank of reps to fall back on how to get through some negative plays or a stretch in a game where it's not going good in the passing game. So he probably is, but that's probably natural too.
Next one, Coach Meyer.
Yeah, Vic, certainly on a positive note, you guys have had 14 sacks in the last 3 games. I think only Baltimore has more in that stretch. What are you seeing in terms of the pressure kind of finally coming together and lots of different players getting involved? Is it the increased familiarity in year 2 of this defense? What are some of the things you're seeing that have allowed for kind of that windfall?
Well, I think it's a lot of stuff. There can be some more familiarity. We're getting more familiar with the group that we're playing with this year, how we need to play. But ultimately, the guys have made some good plays, and hopefully those will continue.
Next one, Eric DeLala. Time for a few more after Eric.
Coach, as you look at some of these losses, is it simple enough, or is it too simple to say that the turnover margin is perhaps the biggest issue and what's standing in the way?
Well, that's always where you first look, and any time you're -3 and give up a kickoff return for a touchdown, it's going to be hard. You're going to be hard pressed to beat anybody, let alone the Chiefs. So, yeah, we're turning the ball over. Last year when we did not turn it over that much, I think we've either turned it over the most or second most times in the league this year. And that's obviously an area that we've got to improve on, because when you can overcome -1 many times, but when you start getting -2, -3, and some of those going for pick sixes, you got problems. It's going to be hard to win.
Next one, Zach Stevens.
Hey, Coach, after Melvin Gordon had 2 fumbles yesterday, did you say anything in particular to him this week to try to regroup him, especially if you don't have Phillip this week?
Yes, we will. Ball security is something that we talk about all the time. Obviously, he got it stripped from him once yesterday and then was involved in the flea flicker play that didn't come off good. So, yeah, it's been stressed and it will continue to be stressed.
Final 2, Eric Good and then Andrew Mason. Go ahead, Eric.
Vic, why do you think that Drew is having trouble going through his progressions, and do you feel he's kind of locking onto the first guy? And specifically, what is Pat doing with him to work on this?
Well, yeah, I think many times, his first look in there, I think his natural reaction sometimes is to flush out of the pocket. Sometimes he needs to stay with the progression of going to 2 or 3 a little more than he has possibly. And the only thing we're doing to try and correct that is continue to work on it in practice. But he does a better job in practice for the most part. But obviously games are different than practice, and that's an area that he can improve on.
Final one, Andrew Mason.
Vic, on the film, what did you see on the kickoff return for a touchdown? And what's your level of concern about some of the special teams issues, that the block punt, the safety back in Pittsburgh that have plagued the team this season?
Yeah, we definitely have had too many negative plays in the kicking game this year. We've got to do a better job of covering. Guys have got to be able to beat the blocks in space one-on-one. We've got to be able to come off blocks. There's no doubt about that. You make a good point. Our special teams play overall in the coverage unit hasn't been good enough when you look at the total picture. But that's an area that we'll continue to work on and hopefully get better here soon.